didn't even work. Okay, still not streaming. If you can see us, good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon. Ooh, I'm not muted. What about you? Oh, I'm still not muted. Oh, gosh. Okay, I think I'm muted now.
Good morning.
Oh, hello. Don't mind us. You're still in refreshing. All right. So it looks like we're visible, except on your device.
You got it.
How are you liking the book? We've got Peggy.
That'll have to do. Cool.
All right, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
I think we're officially on.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Right? 1, 2, 3. Wait, you won.
Welcome to Books We Never Read.
Except for those we have.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Jason.
And this is episode 30 of Books We Never Read, where we talk about The Silent Patient chapters, part 2.
Yep.
Chapter 13 through part 4, chapter 2. This one's complicated with the way we broke it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, what Peggy says. Holy moly, right into chapter 13, lots of exclamations.
We picked the craziest place ever to have a break, right? Like,
yeah.
What a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it was great. So before we dive in, please make sure this is the video that you actually want to be watching. We talk about this reading as if you have already read up to where we've read. So there are spoilers everywhere. Mm-hmm. We talk about it all. Mm-hmm. So please interact with us in the live chat if you're here with us live, and interact in the comments if you're watching this later. It's our favorite thing to be able to go back and keep reliving these books and keep seeing the things that we missed and hearing your perspectives. So that's all our stuff. If you have any recommendations, please recommend.
Yes.
We're always growing the book list.
Yep. And we will be putting out a video today about our next book that we've chosen, just so you can be getting it ahead of time, and then we'll have a syllabus out come next week, I suppose. So, but we'll at least announce it today. Do a short or something. So.
Allison says she's loving this book.
Yeah.
Yeah. I accidentally read too far because I was so into what I was reading that I just ignored the chapter titles or chapter numbers at the beginning of each chapter. So I've got to be very careful not to talk about things that we haven't all read yet.
So we've talked about this several times. We don't talk about these books until we sit down right here with you guys to do it. And so there was like the night at dinner when I had finished the book, and the night at dinner when Nicole had finished the book, and both of us was just sitting there looking at each other, just being like, ah!
He actually finished this week's reading way before I did, and he's like, I call for an emergency session at the book club, which was me last week. Yeah. So I finally got caught up as well, and let's do it.
Well, and I'll say this again. This is a book that, like, everybody kept telling me was good, but for some reason, maybe because of the name, or I don't know, but for some reason, like, I judged it ahead of time, and I was not looking forward to reading it. I really wasn't. And it's good. It's really good. So I'm definitely glad that we did it.
Yeah.
I also think that this second reading was better than the first reading, which is kind of uncommon for us. We tend to have like a great first week, a middle week where we're like, and then a last week where we feel good about it again. So.
Well, this author keeps, just throwing in more and more layers of complications and things that are building up this mystery.
Right.
And so it makes sense that this reading had more for you. I find it equal parts um, exciting and infuriating, right? Because like these people, so many people are doing things that are inappropriate to what they should be doing, and that makes me angry.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, he's investigating Theo, right? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Investigating more than being a counselor, and that's frustrating because he's doing a lot of things that are really, I think, violating that boundary. And he even acknowledged that in our first week's reading that, you know, what he had done in our first week's reading was just the first step of him violating their boundary.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had a lot going on in this part. We have developments in Alicia's diary. We have developments in Kathy and Theo a little bit. We learn about John Felix. Where do you want to start?
Let's
Max
just
and
start.
Gabriel.
Let's just start at the end, right?
Okay.
All right, let's just start there because that's clearly what the chat wants to talk about. Yeah, so the last thing we find out is that this doctor that Gabriel has been taking Alicia to is Christian.
And he has not been disclosing this money on his taxes.
So I find that part really humorous because I just don't care, right? Like I just don't care.
I think he means though ethically.
No, I get it, and like to professionals, like that is a big deal, right? Like you could lose your license or whatever, and I'm sure, I'm sure England is a little more strict than where we live, but like where like, nobody cares here, right? Just like you should, but yeah. What's more interesting to me than that is what are the odds that Alicia ends up at a hospital where Christian works, right? And more interesting than that is Christian says, what else does it say?
Mm-hmm.
He is not worried about the money bit because Alicia couldn't possibly know that like he wasn't reporting the cash.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to know what else it says about him. So there's
or about their sessions.
Yeah, something.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something going on there that we need to know about.
There is. Ooh. Okay, I'm hitting a mental point. I can't say anything because I don't know if it was in the part that I read too far.
That was literally the last conversation. He approaches Christian about it. Hey, I found this journal.
Right.
You're mentioned in it, and then it's like I didn't disclose.
Have we seen anything of her sessions with Christian?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
what did you learn?
We
so I gotta be safe.
So it was just like he was like at his girlfriend's house or whatever, and she went upstairs, and he basically like just didn't believe her. Oh, and then there was the whole like we've been here before, right? He's seen her for issues before, and it was related to the death of her father, right? And apparently she was hallucinating and stuff after his death, and he maybe prescribed her some medication or something at that time. And then after that, we see, as far as the journal goes, we see her go home, maybe get rid of the pills, at least not take them, tell Gabriel she's taking them, and then she just like continues to see this guy outside.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, so do you think that the guy she's seeing out the window is real, imagined, or both?
I don't know. So Peggy says so much gaslighting, and like I agree with that, but I'm not convinced yet.
Yeah.
I think it's highly likely. I think if this story just goes and you're like, oh, she was schizophrenic the whole time. That's just like sad, and why did we do this?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not buying the fact that she's just crazy. But so who is the guy outside? And I don't know. And I have a list of suspects.
Ooh, tell us.
So suspect number 1, Gabriel himself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. She never sees the man. Actually, when Gabriel is present, she will think she sees someone seeing her, which to me is the biggest evidence against it being real. When somebody's like, I could feel someone seeing me, like maybe like sometimes that happens, but you might just be hallucinating, right? So Gabriel is suspect number 1, not because I think he's the most likely, but because he's the closest to her, and because we have no evidence to exclude. The second option is the brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
The third option is John Felix, right?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot him. And she seems to think it's not John Felix. And I don't know. The brother has said it wasn't him. I don't particularly care to believe him, right? The other option is the cousin,
Mm-hmm.
right? He now knows that she has enough money to bail him out with whatever problem he has. He could be casing the house, trying to get more cash, right? But more likely than that is these like mafia style dudes or whatever that he owes the money to, right? So that could be an option. Um, the other option is what if it's Christian himself? What if there is somehow what if Christian is setting this up so that he can see her and in some like weird perverted way be able to treat her and be close to her? I don't know, right? Like that's an option. Because she ends up at his own hospital. And I get that it's like the hospital in the area or whatever, but what are the odds?
Yeah.
You know, that somebody ends up right there. You know, what are the odds that the guy who is the psychiatrist defending you happens to be your boss as well? You know, like, I just don't know.
Right. And, you know, Diomedes was so insistent upon her being released into his care.
Yeah.
And Christian just also works there, you know.
Right. And
I think, is it Diomedes? I think
yeah.
Diomedes knows that Christian
so?
was his doctor. Her
So
doctor.
my last suspect is Diomedes.
Oh, why?
No reason. Because there is no evidence whatsoever pointing at him, and there is something pointing at literally everyone else that gets him on the list.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I feel like it just okay. So Christian has made the comment of, you know, she seduces her therapists or whatever, you know, and you're already being sucked in. And Diomedes clearly has already been there, and he seems so distant from all of it now. You know, he doesn't get involved really.
Yeah.
He just wants to keep her medicated in the capacity that Christian keeps her medicated.
Right.
Which keeps her non-responsive.
So I think clearly everything that is happening up until this point is trying to get us to think that whoever this man is, assuming that he is real, is the person who actually kills Gabriel, right? Like I think that is what it is trying to lead us to do, right? So there's this stalker. Nobody believes about the stalker. He is going to kill Gabriel, and then she will take the fall for it, and then for some reason not talk about it or whatever, right? I think that's what it's trying to lead us. If we don't buy that Alicia kills him, who ties up Gabriel? The stalker, right? That's the other option that we have. So I think that's what we're getting all these little pieces, all these possible people, and it elaborates on my theory from last week.
What was that?
I can't tell you.
Okay. Well, so of your suspect list, both Paul and John Felix have lied to Theo about the last time they saw Alicia. Paul says it was at her dad's funeral, but that's not true. He had gone to her house asking for money after that.
That's a cousin. Yeah, okay.
And Jean Felix excluded in his conversation with Theo all the stuff about she was, you know, changing behavior. Yeah, she was backing out of my gallery.
Yeah.
You know, didn't include that.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, like all these people just seem like kind of skeezy and like they're dealing with their own stuff, you know. I think that because they lie, they are more likely suspects, and for that reason, I put them lower on the list.
Yeah, because it's too obvious.
I mean, yeah, there's just whatever's going to happen is going to be a big deal.
And we still need to keep in mind as far as the mystery goes.
So I agree with that too. Peggy says, "What about the crazy Navy lady?" And so that's possible, right? The reason I don't think it's her is because she has a photo on her phone of this person and is like, "Look, here it is," right? And if I were a stalker and somebody sent me a photo of myself, I would delete it, right? Like I would not show people like, "Look, it was real," right? I'd be like, "She was crazy."
Hey, but it was like not discernible.
Yeah, no, not at all. But the neighbor lady is very interesting, right? Because she's another one of these people who is like kind of lying, but she doesn't understand it. She has her own personality issues.
Why is she even included in this? I mean, she's just nuts.
Yeah.
Oh, what was I saying? No, that's okay. Yeah. So, but okay, so Alicia has just been overly medicated for a long time. Not just not in prison, but not just in this home, but she's been on some kind of cocktail since her dad's funeral, basically.
She was choosing not to take her medication at points, right? And so here's the weird thing, right? You decide you take your. This happens with everybody. You take your medication, so you decide you're good.
It works.
So you stop taking your medication because you don't need it anymore, and then you start like tripping out. and like, so this must be real now, right? And then so you
Mhm.
won't get back on your, and like, and then it's just this weird cycle.
Cycle, yeah.
And so like that could be it too, right? Like
Mhm.
Alicia could be a killer. She could be a killer. She stabs somebody in the jugular or whatever.
In the eye.
In the
with
eyeball,
their-
yeah.
with their paintbrush.
Yeah. She'd kill her. Whether or
Alicia.
not she killed Gabriel, I don't know, but she's a killer.
Yeah.
So,
And we still need to keep in mind that there should be something significant about the Alcestis and this that she has made a sacrifice in someone else's stead and has come back and is angry and silent. You know, so who has she taken the fall for here?
mhm.
You know, maybe it is, I don't know, maybe it is John Felix, or maybe it is Christian or
Yeah.
Diomedes.
Yeah. I So I have this other thought, and I'm not convinced of it. And I agree with the Alcestis theme, right? And she paints herself painting, and she calls the painting Alcestis, right?
She didn't paint herself painting. She painted herself standing there with the.
I think she's painting. Like I think it's a photo. I think it's a picture of her painting, and she's like bleeding, and there's maggots and stuff. But she's painting.
Oh, I thought she was just standing.
Okay, I think she's painting.
Okay.
Anyway, the point being, um, what if somebody else is Alcestis?
Yeah.
You know, like what if it's not her?
Yeah.
What if it's Gabriel? Right? Like that's an option. What if
Mhm.
she has done something and he chose to take the fall so that she would not go to prison or whatever?
Right.
I don't know, right?
Yeah.
And then like why then would she paint herself and not him? I don't know.
Mhm.
But Alcestis is the female character. But like, why are we talking about that story in the first place? You know?
Right.
So I think
Very
that's an
interesting.
option.
Yeah. For sure. Some developments in Kathy and Theo's relationship. He's refusing to talk about the fact that he knows that she's having some scandalous online
Yeah.
communications with somebody, and she's lashing out in little snarky ways, calling him a pothead, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Oh, that made me so mad.
Yeah.
So I agree. Like, if y'all decided as a family that this is going to be a non-smoking household, then you need to talk about this before you start smoking in the household. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, like
I agree.
there could be jobs on the line and
Yeah.
some legal issues there. You know,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But like, you don't just call your spouse names. That's so gross.
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely not supposed to think she's like a particularly good person, right? But we haven't seen any evidence yet of her cheating besides
Right.
these emails. But we don't know, and like like part of whenever at some point he's like, well, maybe she's acting and she's like role playing for this
Mhm.
thing, and that's what the emails are. Like that's gross, buddy. Like she's cheating on you. Right? Like, you don't have to second guess yourself. It's cool. If your partner is going to be sending weird, cheaty emails for practice, they should tell you about that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hey, I'm doing this. It's for a role.
Right.
You can come check them out, but that's what I'm doing. Right? There's an appropriate way to do this bad idea. Right?
Right.
So,
Right. Just bad communication all the way through
yeah.
in their relationship. And, you know, we, again, before some of the chapters, there's the little like snippets from other psychologists and stuff like that. Saying like nothing stays secret. All these things, they fester and,
Mhm.
you know, become issues, and
Yeah.
both of them are keeping secrets. And I just don't understand how he could just be like, I just won't say anything.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Theo as well, right?
Right.
We have this relationship with his father. I'm going to add a suspect. I'm adding Theo.
Oh,
To the-
why?
to the
Because he
people
was already obsessed with her before she was.
But he was
in-
obsessed with her because of like the trial, theoretically.
Oh.
Like theoretically. So I'm going to add him to the list of suspects just because I want to be able to be like, I called it, even though I've listed
Because
8 people.
He's the narrator and he's controlling his part of the story, so maybe he was obsessed with her before then.
Everybody is controlling their part of the story. Everybody is
Yeah.
lying to us. Why should I accept Theo, right? I have now that I've said it, I have a way in my mind that it could happen. I'm not going to say it just in case that it happens. I think it's unlikely that it's Theo, but it could happen.
Could be.
It could be. It could be. I'm not right. I've picked everyone. I've picked literally every named character as a suspect. I did not pick, I will point out, Gabriel's brother's wife. I did not pick her.
Righto. Can we talk about how gross Max is? That, he has likely assaulted Alicia.
Yep.
And when he was at their house, he did it again and she bit his tongue. Don't you think people would have noticed?
Yeah, I don't know. No, people don't really notice. I don't know. I would definitely notice if a dude was eating dinner with me and he was bleeding from the mouth, but I'm a little more observant than most people.
um, we had a new little snippet before some big chunks of Alicia's diary, and it was some quotes about writing in diaries and moments of accidentally telling the truth.
Yeah.
Two of them together, and so one of them is about and most people aren't honest, but they are every once in a while accidentally honest. And then the other one is I don't write in a journal because everything's an exaggeration. That even if they were true, it's magnified,
Right.
And so that kind of gives us a lens to read Alicia's diary.
Right. Sort of.
Right.
Right. So here's the other thing we know about the diary. The diary is given to Theo in the hospital or wherever this place is, right? And somehow no one has found it until now, right? So let me tell you how these places work. You come in with all your stuff and they go through all of it. All of it, right? Because they're looking for weapons and they're looking for drugs and they're looking for all kinds of nonsense. And then every couple weeks, they go through all of it, right? And I just don't buy. I don't buy the reality of being able to hide this whole journal and nobody finding it. I just don't buy that, right? Christian would have found some tech or somebody who's doing the search would have found it, been like, "Hey, psychiatrist, this is weird. Why don't you have this?" And then he would have gotten rid of it because he is mentioned in it, right?
Did she
She's
hand
been
him
there
the
for
diary before or after Barbie visited her?
I don't remember. That's interesting. I don't remember.
Maybe someone brought it to her.
Maybe. And Barbie visits occasionally, right?
But it's been over a year.
Yeah, exactly. And but my point being is that there's still every possibility that she's written this in there.
Yeah.
And then given it to him.
Sure.
So, and that it's not a real journal. It might be like an attempted recollection. But whatever.
But then, yeah, that's weird. Because we read like the weird ending to one of her journal entries, right? Okay,
I don't know what that means.
I'm not gonna say anything just in case.
Okay.
All right, we'll talk about it next week. But there was a mention in Alicia's diary. She was talking about like how her husband all of a sudden was like, "I need to talk to you about something. I want us to have a baby."
Yeah.
Again, if you've gone into a relationship deciding not to have done this, then one person doesn't just get to say, "I have decided I want to do this." Can we talk about this again? And like, can we reconsider?
Yeah.
Do you think we can handle?
Yeah. I didn't see it as pushy as perhaps I guess you saw it. But
I thought it was super manipulative.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Yeah, I guess I didn't think of it that way, but now you mention it, I'm on board.
And she also mentioned that she likes going to the coffee shop because she feels like a human being there.
Yeah.
So she doesn't feel like a human being anywhere else.
Yeah.
And any of her other interactions with people.
Yeah.
I mean, her relationship with Barbie, very one-sided.
Yeah.
Her relationship with John Felix, very one-sided. Her relationship with Gabriel, question mark. She wants to hurt him sometimes. It's weird.
Not healthy. Yeah, I don't know. And then we still have these like relationships with her mother and her father, which probably weren't healthy. But
why does she hate her dad?
We don't really know.
Why did her mom crash the car? What's up with the will?
What's up with the painting of her not being in the car, right? Like she left herself out. Yeah. Yeah, what's up with the will? Who got all the money? It was from Gabriel's will. That was the question, right?
I think so the question was when Gabriel died, who received his money? And there wasn't really an answer, I don't think. And then so when Alicia dies, who gets their money?
Right.
And there was no answer to that.
Okay, I thought there was an answer. I thought it was like something weird. But...
Peggy will fact check for us. Okay, let's see. We have stuff. Okay. Peggy, he waited 6 years to treat her. That's not healthy.
Nope.
It's like Mark starts dating. Oh wait, sorry. It's like Max starts dating Tanya to hide that he's obsessed with Alicia, and Allison thought that too.
Yeah, I also kind of got that impression, right? That she was just sort of like a second place. Yeah.
So do we really think that Max is obsessed with Alicia?
I think everyone is.
How weird.
Everyone.
And she's so distant from everybody. Did anyone else see the South Park? Sally
I did. That's actually very close to what I saw.
Lydia Rose's painting. Well done, Peggy.
Yeah. That whole scene where he goes and visits the cousin and Lydia, it was interesting, you know.
Yeah. Well, and he didn't get to ask the question that he really went there to ask.
What was that?
He went to ask what happened the night after Vernon's suicide.
Right.
And he didn't make it that far.
Yeah.
He ended up having to leave. So, and I feel like he forgot that that's what he went there for. I mean, he got hit in the head with a baseball bat, so that'll do it.
Yeah. I think somehow both her parents' death, right? Like her father committed suicide. We are led to believe that the mother did. We're not sure, but we're led to believe that. Somehow their deaths are going to come back around in full circle, right? Maybe she's a serial killer. Maybe she is into this. Maybe she just like was like one day like, what if I just crashed the car and we died, and then did it, and one day like hung her dad, and then one day killed her husband. I don't know. What if she's just like that? You know, it could happen.
Sure.
So. Why include the fact that all these people died in weird ways and not just like of natural causes?
Yeah. So, we're in part 2 of our reading. So the question is, how does all this stuff tie in together?
Right.
What are the red herrings? What are the loose ends that we won't tie up that didn't ever matter?
I keep thinking of Chekhov's gun, and I keep trying to think back to like, what are some things we were shown in the beginning that will come back full circle at the end? And I'm not, and like I think like we're led to believe like, well, maybe the painting, but I'm not sure about that. There's going to be some snippet that we were given at the beginning where we should be like, ooh, I could have put that together, right? But it's hidden with all these layers of possible suspects.
I'm still hung up on our friendly guard at the hospital who told the story about obsessively following this lady for a long time.
Okay.
What sets Alicia off? Like, what's the common thread? So when she stabbed Alif in the eye with the paintbrush, it's because Alif told Alicia that Theo was in love with her.
Right.
So she stabbed her.
Yeah.
But what was the other time she...
It was
when she beat up Alif, it was because
she said
Gabriel deserved it.
Yeah.
And then when she attacked Theo,
he said that he deserved it, right? Like was he like beating you or something, right? It was something along those lines. Yeah. I don't know, man. As soon as this is over, I'm going to read.
Yeah, I have a lot of laundry to do today. I'll finish this book. Oh man.
Yeah. So Peggy, that's an option. She says, "What if Yuri was the stalker?" Like it's an option, right? So far, he's somebody that we have not been given any background to, because I don't think he was the guard. If I'm not mistaken, he's not the guard. But I mean, at this point, any named character is a suspect, right? Because this is like incestuous, right?
What do you mean he's not the guard?
The guard that you're talking about that stalked somebody.
Yuri?
Yeah. It wasn't Yuri that tells that story.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, Yuri tells Theo.
About stalking somebody?
Over drinks, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
It's because he was like, "Oh, are you married?" He was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you?" He's like, "Well, it started out kind of rough. I was just kept chasing after this woman, and she didn't want me." And,
I'll buy that.
And Theo was like,
I'll put that in there. Yeah. And Yuri is rather protective of Alicia.
Yeah.
All right, that's an option. But the story is incestuous, right? There is something. It all keeps turning in on itself, right? And all these people it's a knot, and so if anybody who is not entangled, right? And I say anybody, but like the unit manager, I don't think is an option. Like she's just kind of a character to be there so that everybody else is
bureaucracy.
Yeah, everybody else just doesn't do whatever they want. She's the voice of reason in many ways.
I might be wrong, but Yuri might have said that he came along kind of around the time Christian did.
Maybe.
I feel like he hadn't been there a long time before Alicia got there. I don't know. But I might be just making that up now. Super gasp! Peggy, you cracked me up.
Yeah, we keep coming around to this. I keep thinking about this painting of Jesus that is Gabriel, but has a gun on him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't I think that's maybe this Chekhov's gun thing. Like there's the literal gun in the painting,
Mm-hmm.
but something about Gabriel as Jesus, who is somebody Alcestis sacrifices herself, but Jesus sacrifices himself. And I guess maybe that's what brings me around to maybe Alcestis is not Alicia, but is Gabriel, right?
Mm-hmm.
If she really is painting in that photo, and we can go back and double check all that, but if she really is painting, what if she's painting herself painting the painting of Jesus, right? And so like that's sort of there could be that kind of concept. I don't know. I need to stop guessing. I just need to go read.
Gosh, it's been very fun to read.
Yeah, it was a good time. I mean, it really started picking up there, right? Because you start getting all these suspects, right? Well, what about the cousin? What about the guy he owes money to? What about this? What about that? What about that? You know, I've never quite read something where I felt like there were so many options. So, but it's there to misguide us, you know.
Yeah, for sure. How do you even write something like this? Very 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Like, how do you write something with so many twists and turns, and I don't know, it's just crazy. I'm not this talented, but I do sure enjoy reading. Her latest painting is interesting. Like, she knows the hospital is failing, but Theo is still trying to save her.
Yes.
Is he throwing her in the fire or taking her out of it?
Yeah. So that was kind of an interesting comment. But yeah, so the hospital's on fire and he is taking her out.
Ask Gillian Flynn.
That must be an author. Yeah. So here's the thought about the painting of the fire. What if the hospital is kind of like her safe place, right? And
well, it's keeping her out of prison.
Yeah, but it's also a place where like she isn't forced to talk, right? Like the stalker or whatever doesn't seem to be bothering her there. I don't know. And what if Theo taking her out? He's burning it down and taking her out, right? He is removing her from this safe place, and so it's not an image of rescuing, but it's an image of kidnap, almost. You know, it's please don't mess with, like, please don't do this because like I like it here. You know, it could be that, I suppose. And so it is him taking her away, not throwing her in. But taking away is not a good thing.
Right. And he has gotten some responses out of her, not just handing the diary.
Yeah.
But also a smile.
Yeah.
If she gave him the diary, what do you think she wants him to know from that diary, from that reading?
I'm not convinced it's not manipulative. I don't know, right?
Right.
So he seems to have read all he can. Because you don't go like show somebody else you haven't until you finish it, right? Like that's not the smart
right.
Way.
What's the last thing you read in the diary?
That the guy was in the house.
There you go. Okay, can we talk about that?
That was the last part. Go ahead.
What the heck?
Yeah. So again, like that all has like a very like when Stephen King's characters go mad, they're like hair in the walls and stuff, and then like you're crazy. I don't know. Now, so here's the other thing, right? When she decided that the man was in the house, who was not in the house?
Was she alone?
She was alone. And Gabriel was out, and he was coming home late. And so, like, what if she's insane, and Gabriel's coming home, and she bonks him on the head, ties him up, and then shoots him? You know? Like, that seems to be where that last entry was leading us, right? So, I don't know. Yeah. Now, it could not have been Gabriel. I don't know, right? But that's definitely where it was leading us.
Who writes in the journal that they're in the house instead of calling 911? What if she's not crazy?
I don't know.
What if it's all just gaslighting, making her crazy?
Could be. But then why?
Because she's got money?
Does she? Like, really? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what you're laughing at, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. So,
Okay.
yeah, I don't really have much else to say. Like, I just kind of want to get to the end because, like, right now we're just guessing, right?
Yeah.
Like this was a really good section for furthering the mystery.
Yeah.
But why talk about what it could be when I can go read right now? We can talk about it next week. I know.
Fun. And so, okay, just a little sidebar. Again, why I really enjoy splitting our books up into 3 weeks. Because if I was just reading, I wouldn't take this time to just like wildly speculate, like, ooh, what's this piece and ooh, what's this? I would just read it and be done and be like, okay.
This reminds me of when Lost came out on TV. Because now you can watch it on Netflix and it's not as fun because
you just blast through the whole thing so fast and you don't have time to process.
You don't have a week to talk to your friends about like what's up with the polar bear or whatever.
This is very. Was there polar bears in Lost?
Oh yeah.
You know, it's good for imagination and for reading comprehension and just it's exciting.
Yeah.
It's juicy.
We definitely appreciate everybody following along with us because this is a good time. So I definitely enjoy doing mysteries this way. Like this is really cool. And we got started with sci-fi, and sci-fi has a soft spot in my heart. But like some of the other books that are on my list for next are also mysteries.
Oh yay!
So
yeah, stay tuned. We have to figure out what our next book is. So
we'll get it done.
We'll post something shortly.
Cool. Well, we're about out of time, so I think we've done a good job going over all the bits from this week. Yeah,
if you have anything else to add, throw that in the chat or the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Let us mull it over.
Yep.
But otherwise, we'll see you next week.
Yep. Yeah, now, there is like a sequel but not sequel to this book. It's by the same author and it's in the same vein. Mm-hmm. And my understanding is there's a slight overlap, but not much.
Yeah. So it's like in the same world, same universe.
But that may be something fun to do in the future if everybody enjoys this book.
It's called Maidens.
There's maybe one more word in there. It's just the Maidens?
I think so.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Someone else has called it the Silent Maidens, but I'm not sure if it's really called that or not. I think it's just called the Maidens. All right. Cool. Anyway, so let us know if you'd like to read that.
Yep. And if you don't have a book suggestion for us, give us at least your favorite genre, right? Mm-hmm. And we'll start adding to that. So.
Well, and I think we just got a Gillian Flynn Rick. So.
Sounds good to me. Cool. Anything else?
That's all I got.
All right. We will see y'all next week.
Go read.
Bye.
Bye.